Hello, brothers and sisters. Welcome back again to another video. I hope all of you guys are having another beautiful day. May you be always full of good energy, good vibrations, serving your highest self, serving the best of you, and hopefully it's serving the best around the people around you. Which I'm sure it is. If you've watched these videos, you're someone that's probably believed that, the world is naturally good. You've probably been on the side of uh, angels and on the side of like very loving, graceful parents and just an overall, you've probably been someone that wanted to change the world or always seen how the injustices of the world and wanted to do something about it, and you probably dove deep into like trying to understand yourself, or maybe you're just barely wanting to really understand yourself because of all the things that are happening in the world. And in this video we're going to talk about finding balance, getting back into your centeredness, getting back into your empowerment, where you feel confident and you feel at peace, and it radiates with power out of you, where you are your true, authentic, genuine self, and you are seeing the world clear, so that the world out there, whatever's going on with whoever you're around with, you're not being intimidated by the world. You're not being intimidated by other energies or anything really, because you got to remember, we're all the source. We're all angelic beings. We're all pure spiritual beings having a human experience. So we're all the same thing, just experiencing it from different bodies, experiencing it from a more subjective ego. That's where the ego comes into play. That's what the ego is. It's like the subjective personalization of this body. I can say I have an ego if I only identify with this lower self, but we are discovering that we are not just this body, this personal self. We're discovering that we are the ones that are witnessing behind the conscience that observes that we are this body and this ego and this personality. So that's the awakening. That's where we are going to go into balance. That's where we're going to feel empowered, because you're not waking up to assimilate your personal self, whatever your name was, whatever your job title is, whatever your position that you feel you are playing in this world, through your programs and conditionings and beliefs and etc., etc. So it's coming back into your like peace, your quiet state, where you are clear in being just present and being just your true heart, without like having your mind come into you and dictate what you should be doing as far as your daily experiences, your lifestyle, your how you are experiencing life. And that's the situation that we're in, where everybody's experiencing life from their subjective ego self, and that's why everything seems to be chaotic. But in reality, it's not chaotic. In reality, everything's in divine plan, everything's in divine order. It's just the ego personal self gets sucked into such a low vibration, such a low frequency, that it can't process all this information of these higher consciousness, these higher dimensions that are like in parallel to the lower ones. So it's like you can raise your vibration, raise in consciousness, and then you can see the world clear. You can have a bird's eye view of your life, your personal life, your kind of like your household family life, your community's life, your society's life, this world's life, this human experience life. You can have a bird's eye view over this earth and see how we humans are sometimes still very, unevolved. The personal ego self aspect of this experience is very unevolved still. It's very territorial and tribal almost still, but the higher conscious state that is also you, the higher conscious state that you can embody, sees that you are actually super evolved. You're the most evolved being there is to be. You are the highest. Sometimes, I live in the Silicon Valley, and here it's all about like tech and the highest technologies, and Tesla and Apple and Google, and it's all like, we're leveling, we're measuring evolution through the outside technological advancements, when this body is the highest technological thing that will ever exist, ever. Like, remember that. And leveling up in your consciousness, leveling up in your awareness is really where it's at. And it's where you shift your paradigm, that everything becomes clear. You see how like you were only unconfident because you weren't seeing the true picture of your life, that you were probably feeling only insecurities because of the doubts and the uncertainties of life. So you were like seeing life with blinders, like those horse races. Is like the ego limits itself to see clear and open, to like, I have this belief, I have this, I have this, and then it just keeps shedding its point of awareness small, to where like it just looks through like a small little people, and that's all it lives its life out through. And how you find your centeredness, and how you find your full grace and divinity and connection to God and connection to all, is through letting the ego go, letting the personal self go, being humble, accepting that we're not in control. The ego wants to have control because it feels like that's the way it's going to center itself. That's the way it's going to find balance, by it controlling, the good things it wants to experience, and controlling the forces that are going to, hopefully not bring bad experiences. So it's constantly like with its walls and guards and this and this and that. And, it's overrunning your nervous system. It's overrunning your body. And that's why you always feel tired. That's why you always feel like, like it's never enough. Even when you supposedly, get to those accomplishments and goals, you don't really feel like a soul charge or a spiritual charge. It's like a very small, maybe for like a couple hours high, or a day or two, and then all of a sudden you realize it wasn't a sustainable, real, lasting experience that brought you upliftment and joy, like eternally. And the only way you can attain that is by becoming that state, by becoming the state that where all love lives eternally, where peace lives eternally, where the sense of ecstasy lives eternally. That's where it becomes sustainable. It's not in the external world through like, the way we are used to thinking about it. We have to go deeper into just being present, just being the consciousness that is being the existence that is just existing. Don't add to that. Don't add to it in layers of your mind and this and that and this and this and that. of course you're gonna have tasks and the practical life of doing things, because you're still gonna need to feed your body, you're still gonna need to shower, you're still gonna need to do a lot of the practical things. But the difference now is that you're more balanced in a truer conscience, you're more centered, you're in a more stable way of seeing life, and therefore, because you're more balanced, now you're seeing life more clear. You gain confidence, you gain strength, you're able to be not intimidated, because someone that's mad or angry, they're projecting like a lot of dense energy, and it, their energy is very, very strong and piercing, in that you can easily get lost in their energy and whatnot. And literally, this is what's happening at a big scale, and that's why people are running around like with this whole like pandemic and all these political stuff going on, and really, God is always in control. The universe is always in control. Have no fear. Trust that divine order is always winning. Angelic beings, higher, alien, more evolved civilizations are here already, and they're guiding the way nature's intended. Mother Earth is alive. It's a living entity. It's not just a new age belief. It's not just also pagan. It's obvious to see it, but the ego's not gonna want to understand that, because if it sees that, and it's beyond the ego's perception to understand that. So as so long you're judging and hearing me through the ego's ears and the ego's eyes, this is just going to come in one ear and leave out the other. And you're going to constantly be looking for change. You're going to constantly be looking for the next book and the next video and the next this, when I literally just explained to you how you can attain your freedom, your enlightenment. And it's not something you just attain once and that's it, I'm free. No, it now becomes a responsibility. Now it becomes a labor of love, because it is a state of being that you must be now. Every moment you must be this state of higher consciousness, show up to the world as this higher, more spiritual peace and love and tranquility, without letting the world eat you up, and then you reacting to it in anger and whatever, all that stuff, because that's gonna end up happening if you're not stable in your self, stable in your emotions, stable in your thoughts. And that's really all in a nutshell how you can truly liberate yourself right now, and truly allow your heart to guide you, and be like, what, your heart's gonna start to speak to you and tell you, what, nope, right now we're gonna only speak truth, and I'm gonna speak the truth only, and only the truth. And it might feel uncomfortable, it might feel like I'm shaky, it might feel nerve-wracking, but you're gonna do it. And I know you're gonna do it, and you're gonna do it. And then you're gonna all of a sudden fall into this like rhythm. You're gonna go into this like momentum, and it's gonna further, like a snowball, empower you more, and further keep you strong, and further keep you disciplined, and further keep you in integrity, and further expand your consciousness, and further expand your love and your good energy. And before you know it, you're just out here with no fear, letting it appear, being sincere and putting it into gear. And just having fun, like you shake off everything that the world is going through, and you don't just shake it off and go into like your little happy bubble. No, you're still here with everybody, so you're actually now a part of the solution. You're actually now part of the change. Now you're actually a beacon of light, and empowering others and bringing hope to others and bringing good vibrations to others, and through your experience, people can shake off their insecurities, and they can shake off their whatever is happening in their life. And we're mirrors. See, we're all the same thing. We're reading each other. We're vibing off each other. We're growing off each other. If I see you breaking, a bunch of old patterns and old, cultural conditions, it empowers me, because it's like, cool, I'm not alone. I got people doing the same thing. And then it's like, there's strength in numbers, and it's soon, there's so many of us, and then we raise the Schumann resonance of the world, because we're just so vibrant, and then boom, the whole earth just shifts into consciousness. And a lot of the things that we think is normal now, like wars and being selfish and greedy, then all of that goes away, because now we see how that's just so unevolved and so like selfish, so like man, what are we still, like animals? Are we still like communicating and having the perspective of animals, where we're still defending our territory, and still what I mean? It's like, when we know that sharing is gonna create abundance for everybody, when we know that being selfless is gonna be the actual it's like currency, it's like money. When you're selfless, you're the richest person in the world. You're wealthy because you carry an energy that is beyond. I mean, you can have $1 billion and I'm sure you'll feel good, because then you're like, you're free in the material world to pretty much buy and kind of do what you want to a certain level. Well, when you are spiritually free, it's next level. And we are all going to be welcomed into that world, because one way or another, the world is shifting, the vibrations are shifting, the cosmos are shifting, and grace is always pushing forward. Love is always winning. The universe is always progressing, and God is always pushing this world for us to further our evolution. So a lot of people that feel like the world's gonna fall apart and be doomsday and sure, it's gonna get a little shaky, but it's only to give room for this new kind of energy to really get grounded, and this new consciousness to really cement itself into a denser energy. So it's the higher vibrations are dropping down into the lower vibrations, and it's bringing higher perspective, is bringing higher energy, and people are having a hard time letting go of their ego. That's really what it is. People are just having a hard time letting go of their ego, and they're just having a tantrum at a political level, at a governmental level, at a even just community, and even in your house. And it's just, we're all going through this change that is letting go of the ego. That's literally what's happening in the world, and it's just being shown in so many different ways. But it's all good, because divine order is always it's always winning. It's always what's controlling the world really is grace, and all that what seems bad is just we're letting go of all of like our shadows, and our like karma is just kind of playing out now. We're just healing it, we're letting it go. So it's gonna be a little shifty, a little turbulent, and then there's always that, like, from the point that you were from the point you were in before to the new point you will be, you're in the middle. So you're like really disoriented, kinda, where you can't go back to the old, and you're still not quite there in the new. So you're like, in that middle kind of very dynamic space. But trust yourself, and you will eventually find your feet, find your legs in higher love, higher conscience, just higher peace, higher understanding, just higher clarity, and everything I'm saying will just like click and make sense, and I won't seem such a strange guy. Because, you know, I'm sure to a lot of people that are like very in their mind, they're like, yeah, this is too much. But it's not too much for, you know, if you're listening from your heart. And, you know, if you've probably watched till this long, then you already know. And I'm sharing my love with you. Peace always be with you. Always, always. And we're gonna get stronger. We're getting stronger. And, you know, let the will of God and let the will of the universe just flow through you. Like Bruce used to say, be water, my friends. Just let it flow. Love you guys. Peace always be with you. Namaste. Amitabha.